$5.5. That is what a share of Ubisoft is worth right now. Let that sink in. We are talking about the biggest game publisher in Europe. The company that gave us Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Splinter Cell, and Rainbow Six. A company that used to trade at nearly $90 a share is now literally $5. If you bought a coffee this morning, you spent more than the market thinks a piece of this company is worth. And you know what the worst part is? This wasn't an accident. This wasn't bad luck. This was controlled demolition. We have watched Yves Guillemot drive this company straight into the ground for 5 years, ignoring every warning sign, every player complaint, and every internal alarm bell. And now, as the ship finally snaps in half, he's not trying to save the passengers, he's trying to steal the lifeboats. Today, we need to talk about the major reset that just killed 6 games, the disaster of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and the shady Tencent deal that proves leadership doesn't care about saving Ubisoft anymore. They only care about saving themselves. So, welcome to 2026. If you thought 2024 or 2025 were bad for Ubisoft, well, just a few weeks ago, Ubisoft announced a major company reset. That's corporate speak for we are firing everyone and cancelling everything because we have no money left. They cancelled 6 games. 6. They delayed 7 others. They shut down 2 entire studios. And they are forcing a return to office mandate that has literally caused strikes in Paris because nothing boosts morale like forcing devs to commute to a job they may not have next week. But here is the kicker. The leadership remains exactly the same. Yves Guillemot is still the CEO. The board is full of his family and his friends. They are doing the exact same thing they have done for a decade. Chasing trends, ignoring quality, and treating their developers like disposable batteries. And they expect a different result. Union representatives in Paris are finally saying the quiet part loud. They are publicly calling for Yves to resign. They are saying he's surrounded by yes men who are terrified to tell him the truth. And frankly, looking at the state of the company, can you even blame them? Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the game that was supposed to save them, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Remember when this was supposed to launch in November 2024, then it got pushed to February 2025, then it got pushed again to March, then they told us that they needed time to polish it. They told us that they were listening to player feedback. Well, it came out, and guess what? It didn't save anything. Depending on who you ask, the game is either fine or a disaster. But one thing it definitely isn't is a hit. Sales are down compared to Valhalla. The community backlash was immense. And yet, if you listen to Ubisoft's earning calls, they are living in a completely different reality. They're calling it a long-term success. They are saying it's hard to beat. This is the delusion that kills companies. When you release a game that underperforms after 2 major delays and you still refuse to admit that something is wrong with your formula, you are gone too far. They blame Star Wars Outlaws for being too soft. They blame the market. They probably blame the phase of the moon at this point. They will blame literally anything except the fact that they have been making the same exact open world slop for 15 years and people are tired of it. But wait, it gets darker. Because while the main Ubisoft ship is sinking, the Guillemot family has been busy building a very expensive escape pod. Back in November 2025, they closed a deal with Tencent. Tencent invested over 1 billion euros to buy a 26% stake in a new subsidiary called Vantage Studios. Now, pay attention because this is where they screw you. Vantage Studios isn't just some random side project. Ubisoft took their crown jewels, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, and they moved them into this new company. Do you see what they did? They carved out the only things of value left in Ubisoft and put them in a separate box protected by Tencent money. So if the main Ubisoft company does go bankrupt, if the stock hits 0, if the debts come calling, it doesn't matter. The Guillemots and Tencent have secured the IP. They didn't make this deal to save the devs at Ubisoft or the support studios. They didn't make this deal to fix Beyond Good and Evil 2, which I'm pretty sure is just a collective hallucination at this point. They made this deal so that when the main structure collapses under the weight of their own incompetence, they still get to keep the keys to the kingdom. It's just asset stripping that they have very carefully disguised as an investment. And that brings us back to the stock price. $5.5. You have to understand how hard it is to fail this badly. The gaming industry has grown every year. Their competitors are making record profits. Capcom is killing it. Nintendo is printing money. Even EA manages to stumble into a hit every now and then. Ubisoft had everything. They had the talent, they had the IPs, they had the love of the fans. I remember when Assassin's Creed 2 came out. I remember Far Cry 3. I remember when Ubisoft's swirl logo actually meant the game was gonna have a good quality. But they traded all of it for microtransactions. They traded it for NFTs. Remember Quartz? Yeah, great idea, Yves. They traded it for quadruple A games like Skull and Bones that nobody wanted and nobody played. They spent 5 years chasing every predatory monetization trend instead of just making good games. And now the market has spoken, the gamers have spoken, and the employees have spoken. There is only one way this ends. Yves Guillemot has to go. You cannot lead a company when your workforce is striking, your shareholders are revolting, and your customers think your brand is a joke. But he won't leave. He's proven that with the Vantage deal. He would rather rule over the ashes of a broken empire than admit he was wrong. So to the 14 million people who still supposedly play their games, and to the thousands of developers stuck in that sinking ship, I am sorry for you guys. You deserved better leadership. You deserved a CEO who cared more about the art of the games than the price of a skin bundle. Ubisoft, as we knew, is dead. The name might survive on the box of the next Assassin's Creed, but the soul of the company was sold off a long time ago. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Is there any coming back from the $5? Or is it just going to burn this time? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and unlike Ubisoft, try to make good decisions with your money. Buy good games. And I'll see you in the next one.